Jody, darling, the feeling is not reciprocated. I hate to be the one to tell you, the feeling is not reciprocated. Well, fuck me, she's gone. Oh my God, everything is better, right? I feel it's weird, and I'm not joking. I feel a lightness. I feel like a tension lifted off my shoulders that this awful experiment is over. Sadly, not completely decanonized. Very clearly, it was created to have a cliffhanger regeneration, and David Tennant was recorded on a blue screen or a green screen and inserted in. And David Tennant, freaking awesome as always. David Tennant still has it 100%. But for me, you can go completely from Capaldi directly to this and not miss a beat, right? Do not miss a beat. 1 second. It's fine. They even forgot all the tent poles of the era. Didn't mention Timeless Child. Didn't mention Tasman. Didn't resolve Fugitive Doctor. None of that. That forgotten, and it's forgotten forever. Well, you know why it's forgotten forever? Because it was shit. Now, in terms of the episode itself, surprisingly competent, right? They learned how to make something viewable if you don't look too hard, and they know to get rid of Jodie, like keep Jodie off screen as much as humanly possible, which they did. All the rumors were true. We saw 5th, 6th. We didn't see the 4th Doctor. We saw 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 1st Doctor. Mostly in a very, I would say, fan fictionist and Virgin New Adventure-esque way, right? It was very clearly an idea. It's sort of a rip-off of an idea from a Paul Cornell book from like the late 90s, I believe, right? I think it was his first new adventure. But yeah, very much like ripped off from that. It was nice to see McGann again. There was 2 really beautiful scenes with Ace and the 7th Doctor, sort of, and Tegan and the 5th Doctor. Really good scenes, and carried over by the strength of the performances, and yeah, the nostalgia for the characters. None of it made sense, right? And it even kind of referenced how none of it made sense. It had a very much of a Curse of the Fatal Death-esque thing. I actually put that in my notes at one point. This explanation is like Curse of the Fatal Death, when like, how did you survive? I'll explain later. It really was like that. There's just so little made sense, right? So little made sense. Oh, Bell and Vinda, yeah, you didn't see Bell. None of that dealt with. Like, it just completely forgot. Everything they made a big deal about, forgotten. 3/4 of the universe still destroyed. I don't know what to tell you. This is some somebody will think, I will think of some way of writing this out of reality. For me, if I can somehow pull the image of David Tennant they had regenerating from Jodie, if I can somehow work out a way of doing that, and his clothes changed as well, right? It's not like Jodie regenerated and Tennant was in Jodie's outfit. He was in the outfit we've seen him in the 40th anniversary. We saw a little bit of Ncuti Gatwa in a trailer. Also, we saw a little bit of David Tennant in a very tiny teaser trailer afterwards. It's great to see Ncuti though, right? That was actually quite exciting. So I think we're probably going to be seeing in Christmas 2023. And then the plot completely falls apart and completely doesn't make any sense. But a lot of it was fun. Like, I mean, J. Magnus Stone, they should keep him on. He kept this thing moving, right? He kept it moving, and it moved at such a pace that you didn't really have time to think of how none of this made any sense, right? And again, for the normie squinting, for me as a reviewer, it wasn't agonizing watching. Like, most of everything up until Flux was agonizing watching. I will say Flux, the first episode of Flux and the first and the second, I think maybe the 3rd or 4th episode, the 3 episodes of Flux that really weren't painful to watch. They weren't good. Jodie Whittaker is horribly miscast in this role. It's been nothing but damaging for her. This is the best episode, by far. The Master's central plan in this made sense and worked for the Master. Sasha Dhawan's performance as a Master far stronger. Again, they kept Jodie off screen as much as possible, and it really, really helped. But there's so much that didn't make any sense whatsoever, right? Didn't make any sense. So look, here's the plan. I'm going to go over the entire plot right now. Tomorrow, I'm going to put out another video when I've had a night to sleep on and think about it. I'm going to get screen grabs and we'll go through it in real high detail. I'll do it live, but I've got to go to a wedding tomorrow. Oh, man, I hate going to weddings. I really do. I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. But in general, I mean, like the set pieces were, I mean, it's like they finally worked out what to do. It's really weird. And funny thing is, when I say they worked out what to do, they got to the level, I would say, of season 24 level competence, right? In terms of writing, it's about there. That's where that was the sweet spot. But again, their entire era, they forgot about it. They just forgot about it, and it was so bizarre. Fine. Let's let's get to the chat quickly. And there was a lot of you here. Let's get to the chat, and then we'll get to the episode. DC is here. How you doing? They're ripping off Rusty the Dalek. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing. This thing played like Doctor Who karaoke, right? It was like they had the scene from, was it Journey's End with all the companions around the TARDIS, just not as good. They had a lot of scenes they ripped off. There was, I thought that was Rusty the Dalek. We're going to talk about him in a minute. It wasn't. It made no sense, right? It made no sense. Dan literally leaves at least to find a reason. They didn't even find a reason to go. He just said, you nearly killed me again, right? Again, we're gonna get a lot of it make it. Don't try and have any of it make any sense. It doesn't. The Solder Engines is here. How you doing, Solder Engines? Thank you for joining us. Okay, I'm whizzing through the chat now. Who we got? Lee Singh is here. Hi, Lee. Oh, Lee Sai. Is it Lee Singh or Lee Sai? Oh, I say Lee Singh. Rob, anybody. Darling, you're not an anybody to me. You're somebody to me. Please tell me a big boulder landed on Jodie Niaz's head and squashed them. No, sadly not. Sadly not. We saw Mel. We saw Ian. We saw Joe Grant. Look, this was designed to be designed to be the capstone of Doctor Who, I think. Right? But they broke it. Kathleen Fee is here. Shooty showed more acting talent in a couple of seconds than 5 years of Jodie. Yes! That is really evident, right? That is really... I can't wait to rewatch that. That is really... Is that on YouTube yet? Hang on, let's have a look, see if it's on YouTube yet. Hang on. YouTube. He really did. And it was... that was ridiculous. But he actually genuinely did have more charisma and screen presence. I'll do a search on Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Look at that. I'm on my YouTube and like everybody is. Oh, here it is. That's it. I'm on the my YouTube, right? And like I'm just saying, everybody I know is streaming. Like everybody's streaming. Well, let's have a quick look at the Tennant teaser trailer. And we will be looking at this again, okay? Like, I think quite obsessively. There we go. So we've seen all this footage, though.
I don't know who I am anymore.
Oh, well, who was that there just now? He leaped underneath there. Donna. Okay, it's Donna.
Someone tell me what the hell is going on here?
Whoa, so what was he? Why are we wearing a suit and tie? Was that Tennant's suit and tie? I think so, right? Okay, you're right. He did show more charisma and screen presence in that 3 seconds. Then, you're 100% correct. I agree with you. And here's the thing. It's over. I don't know how to say this as clear. It's over. Everybody's forgotten about this era completely. Forget it. Just forget it. Russell T. Davies is going to forget it. That's how we're dealing with it, right? We're just going to totally forget about it. If you want to erase it from your memory, you can do it. They're never going to reference back to it again. You're never going to see Joe Martin again. I will be unless Russell T. Davies says, "Oh, I think I can fix that," but I don't think he's going to, right? I do not think he's going to. What was about the little girl? No, we don't know. We don't know. Okay, no, I'm not going to go into any details until I oh yeah, they're 100% redoing the TARDIS interior. Rob anybody? Yeah, no. There's not a chance. Mark the Vicar is here. How you doing, Mark the Vicar? Thank you for joining us. Can I mention again? It's over. Matthew J is here and Paul Taylor. Has she gone? She's finally gone. Again, it's like the opposite of when Alderaan was blown up. You know, it's like a million voices of rose in terror of suddenly silence. Suddenly, a million angry, toxic voices were silenced, right? Were absolutely silent. They're gone, right? They're gone. Paul is here. Epsilon_ is here. Hey, so you said on a comment, you say you probably don't remember you. Of course I remember you, dude. Of course I remember you. Yeah, they completely ditched Spasmin. Monk of Magnesia is here. Thank you, Monk of Magnesia. Thank you for joining us. Who else we got? Dexter Hill. How are you doing, Dexter? Paul Tosin is here. Philip Bogart. And who else? Jonathan Cox is here. Dominic. Jab Dominic is here. Em is here. Thank you for joining us, Em. And we're called up. Fine. Let's talk about this episode, the Power of the Doctor. What was the Power of the Doctor? We didn't know. It's got nothing to do with the power of the Doctor. Do you want to know about Tectoon and the division and the end of the universe? Oh, forget it. It's all gone. All of it's gone, right? Everything's gone. Nothing makes sense. There's no connective tissue between seats. It's really bizarre. With a kind of a simplistic story. So it starts off, good effect shot. We're looking at the sun, and it's the high-speed train thing we saw from the trailer. It's been hijacked by Cybermen. Great direction. Oh man, the Cyberman attack, freaking great direction. The Cybermen come clunking in. I liked it a lot, right? I liked it a lot. Then they're all shot, and they take out the Cybermen, and they all die, and then they regenerate. They are Cyber Masters, although the first time they didn't have the curly-whirly Cybermen stuff, which I quite like them, but it okay, right? And so the security guards say, "Can anybody help us? We said, please help us. We're under attack." And Joe says, "Hey, Keith Thump. Oh, we're going to help you, Keith Thump." And so they're flying the TARDIS. It's again ripping off Runaway Bride at this point, flying the TARDIS above the space train. They get out this rope ladder to climb down, and it's too short. And again, of course, she screws up all the time, but they got magnetized boots, so boom, they all land, right? So this whole opening sequence is I would say, facsimile of a Matt Smith, Stephen Moffat at his prime, right? That's what they're going for. And so the Cybermen there, they say, "We must protect the cargo. We must protect the cargo." What could the cargo be, right? Dad has been sent to the front of the train to slow it down. He speeds up because he's a silly man. Good cyber voices from Nick Briggs. I listen, I'm happy that Nick Briggs got the work in. He had a lot of work in this episode. The cyber voices very worked a lot. So then again, how the Cyber Masters back? Who cares? Doesn't matter, right? It's like it has it always reaches. It never reaches above the intellectual level of an early season of the Tomorrow People, right? It's really it just doesn't hold together, right? Especially when you think about it in any way, shape, or form. So the Cybermen are going for this cargo, right? And the cargo, they have a Jodie catches up with them, and they have a Jodie Cyberman confrontation. And amazingly, Jodie is shit. Jodie is absolutely shit. But Robert Bonham is here, as is Gal Kamrazov. In a minute, I'll think of something that I should have said that may be helpful. Well, we'll find out. I mean, that's probably what something Jodie would say. In fact, that is something that she said, right? So they open the cargo, and now instead they're ripping off Firefly, right? The first episode of Firefly, where they open the cargo, and inside is a stunning and brave little black girl who is clearly the key to everything, right? Clearly is going to be the key to everything. Then we get the opening titles. Do you think they're going to connect that beginning to anything? No, they're not. It makes no sense. It's just babble. Right, it's meaningless babble. So then it's in, 16, wherever it was, in Russia. and there's Rasputin there, and you see him in shadows. It's obvious that Sasha the One is the master. Meanwhile, in London in 2022, Ace is investigating. She's in a gallery, and she's looking at a painting and says, "Where's that painting gone?" Said, "Oh, we just taken it to be restored. But it was just restored 2 weeks ago. How can it need to be restored again?" So this is very much, it feels very Sarah Jane Adventures to me, this whole thing. And so Ace talks to Tegan, who's on a joint mission. And so apparently Ace and Tegan are now crack detectives for UNIT. And so Tegan is in Romania looking into the missing seismologist. So they got a missing seismologist and 15 paintings missing. Why? I don't know. But then Tegan said, again, this is so strange. Said, and then, I got a strange, when I got here to Romania, somebody left me a note. It was the doctor. I haven't spoken to the doctor in 30 years. Well, I haven't spoken to the doctor in 40 years. Okay, so it was a note that said Russian doll. And they just left me this little action figure. And it was clearly Ashtad from... who was shrunk down before, the lone Cyberman. And it's a card saying, "From the Doctor." Now, I will say this. When you do finally find out the Master's plan, the plan works for the Master, right? It totally works for the Master. So Dan's... so then back in the TARDIS. I don't know. What happened to the little girl? We don't know. We don't know. Somehow the Cybermen... got away with the little girl, and the Doctor is back in the TARDIS with Dan, and Dan's being dropped off for a date. And Dan says, "Hey, love, I think, our kid. I think I'm gonna go now. Don't come and pick me up." I said, "Why?" "Because you nearly fucking killed me again, right? You nearly fucking killed me again." And she does almost kill people because she's awful as the Doctor, right? So again, how did they said, "Oh, we're tracking the stolen child." What is the child? We don't know, but they're tracking it, right? And the Doctor, nothing makes sense. There's nothing that links anything up, connective tissue that makes any of these bits add together to make sense, right? So, but then when Dan says he's leaving, he answers like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a bit of Jodie to myself. Let's get that bed back in the console room." Doctor, should we go to Planet the Dildos? I think we should go to Planet the Dildos. Okay, Yaz. Set course of Planet of the Dildos. Oh, keep up. That doesn't happen. Dan arrives back at his house and remembers he got shrunk down by the Master. So, I guess I don't have a home then. I'll just sleep on my mum's couch. It doesn't matter that my house is gone. Excuse me, your house is like where 90% of the world's entire wealth belongs in their homes, right? And your house is gone, and you're just running. Hey, I kid. No, it doesn't make much sense. So then, as the Doctor's rushing around to get this black kid, who we don't know who is, and we never find out. As far as I recall, we never find out. Right? A Dalek hologram shows a Doctor. I must meet you. Keep up a Dalek. I don't trust the Daleks. And these Daleks are much more like the Daleks from the first Dalek Peter Cushing movie, where they're kind of like naughty children who don't really have any abilities in their casing. They said, "I need to meet with you, Doctor. I have information that will wipe out the Daleks." Yes, you thump. A Dalek, prepared to wipe out the Daleks. So now apparently the Doctor totally fine with genocide, right? Now she's committed genocide 3 times over. At least the Tomorrow People had a bit of charm. With Carl Cameron says Tomorrow People versus Jodie. At least Tomorrow People had a bit of charm, even though, look, let's be fair. The first design of Jedediah, a little bit embarrassing, right? A little bit tin ribs embarrassing. Anyway, so she's like, "Well, why, Icky Thump?" He says, "I am not like other Daleks." And again, I'm glad for Nick Briggs of the work. He says, "Daleks were created so Carlins would survive, but we have changed to Daleks, and now we care about Dalek survival. Therefore, we do not deserve to exist. You must meet me, Doctor, because the Daleks are about to attack Earth. Billions will die." Okay. Okay, so he's like, I guess I'll meet you then. So this Dalek is a very, very clear rip-off of Rusty the Dalek. Dr. Alex is here. You did not miss out. It's over. It's over. Thank God. I say I kept my unbroken run of No Chibnall. Barry Badgemout uploaded 1,000 videos in drumming it to awesome songs and watch those instead. This one you're gonna want to see all the clips on YouTube, right? When we get to the episode, it leaps from thing to thing to thing, and it just, oh God, it gives you kind of a headache. But again, this is for a channel surfing person to be caught for 2 minutes to get a register as a view. I reckon the ratings will be. I don't know. I think they should be quite good for this, but you know, the better they've got, and they've never got that good because Jodie Whittaker stars in it, and she's just not very good playing the role. The more that they got criticized, right? Did Jodie regenerate into anyone? Sort of. She regenerated. She was clearly shot to be a regeneration outside the TARDIS. So like all the mock-ups have been, right, for the last 5 years. Regeneration outside the TARDIS, but then you saw some green screen footage of David Tennant appearing through the regeneration, and the clothes regenerated as well. So he's wearing a different outfit, right? We'll watch it at some point, right? During this, but yeah, anyway. So right now we have Cybermen have kidnapped got this cargo from a space train, which is a little black girl, and we don't know why they want her. Okay, but they want the little black girl. I think I might have worked it out. But so the Daleks are going to attack her. So meanwhile, they've tracked the little black girl to 1916, right? And in 1916, the Master is Rasputin. Was there ever a Rasputin, or was it always just the Master? We don't know. It's one of the things we don't know. Like one of the many things we don't know. And he's curing the Tsar and Tsarina's son of what's it called again? I can't remember. Their blood doesn't clot. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, but he's hypnotizing them and said, "Oh, you better give me the Winter Palace." And again, all this actually kind of works as the Master, right? I don't think Sacha One's worked as the Master up until now. Now it's kind of like a John Simmy type Master, which is slightly more efficient, right? Slightly more accomplished. So he has total control, and there's been in 1916, where the little girls, an extra planet has showed up, right? We'll watch the regeneration. We'll decide for ourselves what a monk of many is. We'll decide for ourselves. Here, I shall download it right now. One second. Now we go to YouTube downloader. YouTube downloader online. Oop. Spelled it wrong. Downloader online. I'll grab we'll get the Shooty trailer, and then the regeneration should be online by now as well. So we'll do the Shooty trailer first. Download that. I don't know why it always opens up AliExpress. Like whenever I go to download things, like, oh, would you like a bit of AliExpress? No, I'm fine, mate. I'm fine. I don't need AliExpress. No, you want some AliExpress? Are you sure? No, I really don't. Here we got the regeneration. Yeah. And I'll edit it. What's it? 1 second. I'll go over here. Yeah. Well, wait. When we get to it, we will watch it together, and it's going to send me to AliExpress again because fine. That's fine. That's down. When we get to it, we'll get to it. So basically, the idea is they just forgot about everything, right? They just forgot about everything that the Chibnall heroes. They forgot about the China's children. They forgot about Dr. Ruth. They forgot about Phasmin. They forgot about everything, right? So anyway, 1916, when the Doctor turns up, there's an extra planet, and it's so she arrives there, and on the planet, it's some kind of like Cyberman technology planet, and there's another TARDIS there, in a quarry, And the other TARDIS, he goes and looks at it. It's the police box TARDIS, and it says ha 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 instead of police box and all that, like we saw in the trailer. They go inside. So the cloister bell is signing, is dying, and it's kind of like Jodie's TARDIS, but a little bit different. And then she works out that the TARDIS is being used to tether the planet to the girl, the little black girl, who turns out to be a super powerful, benign alien being, and they're using that being to power the planet. For what reason? I don't know. So the Cybermasters turn up, and the dog's like, "Hey, keep up! I will stop you." And the Cyberman, again, very good Nick Briggs voice, saying, "You will not stop us. Your master awaits." Yeah, okay, fine. So the master's going back. Again, why the Cybermaster's back? Wasn't Gallifrey destroyed again? No, again, nothing makes any sense, but it actually makes less sense as it goes on, right? So now, I guess when we can work out what Jodie's Doctor is, when we work out what Tennant's Doctor is, right? This new David Tennant Doctor is. Now, yeah. Now we're at a unit's headquarters, and they got a whole new building, and Kate Stewart shows up, and Ace and Tegan is there, and then the TARDIS arrives, and so the Jodie meets Ace and Tegan. Sophie's great, by the way. Sophie's really good throughout this. Tegan is, yeah. Janet was never the greatest actor, was she? Jodie is a cool shit. I mean, she so yeah, Ace, yeah, Sophie really does a good job and shows up Jodie, right? He really shows up Jodie. So Kate is now rebuilding unit with old companions, but Tegan's very resentful that the Doctor never contacted her again. So that's a little thing that's going to carry on through the episode. So unit has the mystery of the missing paintings are that all the paintings had to be taken down because they were famous paintings, and suddenly the Rasputin's face has been transmuted onto like Edward Monk's Scream and Mona Lisa. The Master's face has been transmuted onto all of those works of art. And then the Doctor said, "Hey, keep up! That's not Rasputin. That's the Master." Maybe it's one and the same. You know? Maybe it's one we don't know. We do not know. So then they get again ripping off season 9 Dalek story when the Master shows up, Missy turns up on the unit screen. Sacha One's Master said, "Hi, I'm a seismologist. I'm doing a lecture in Naples. We got to go to Naples." So meanwhile, Tegan, when the Doctor touches Ace and Tegan, there's a little spark, and he goes, "Oh, I wonder if that'll mean anything later on. Oh, I don't know." Everything is very, very heavily foreshadowed. This is written for 4-year-olds. I would say, yeah. This is, if you're a 4-year-old, you'll be like, "This is really cool, right? I think this is really cool." So in Naples, they go there, and all the people in the audience are the kidnapped seismologists have all been tissue compressed and shrunken. So they said, "How did you survive?" He's like, "Oh, I'll explain later." It is exactly like Curse of the Fatal Death, right? It really is. He tells it to, yeah. So he then he says, "Oh, you got to leave Earth because this is the day that you cease to exist." Then all the unit soldiers show up, and they take the Master into custody, right? But the Doctor says, "No, Eki Thump, no, yes, get a gun and hold it on the Master." And they're going to transport him in the TARDIS to unit holding. Why give him access? I'm 20 minutes in. I better make another stupid decision because that's me, Doctor. That being really silly. And the Master's like, "You're never gonna use that gun." And he's like, "I've been trained with weapons." Of course she has, because she's the bestest ever at everything. So in the TARDIS, the Master says that he ingested the Siberian, which is a giant battle computer that infused with him to make him super, super clever. Now, I really, yeah, really, it's just okay. I guess and so that explains how he came back to life and how he brought the cyber lords back to life and the Dalek. I don't know, right? So then something else doesn't make sense. Vinder shows up, right? And Vinder, he's at the planet with the Cyberman planet, the extra planet. But none of this makes sense. And you go, what's going on? You've got the experience of watching it, right? That's exactly what it's like. So then the Master arrives at unit and sees Ace and Tegan, and he's like, "Oh, I remember your aunt Vanessa. Oh, that was so fun squeezing her down." And then he gets under Tegan's skin, and Ace is like, "Last time I saw you, you were a tiger or a cat or something. You are half cat." Master is thrown in a cell. Yaz and the Doctor in the Time Vault again. Yaz says, I can't do this anymore. You need to tell me what's going on. We can't get you enough running from one to the other. And the Doctor talks to Yaz and then gives a little shock to Yaz, right? and like, oh, I wonder if that could be anything. So the Doctor tells Yaz they need to meet this Dalek so they can destroy all the Daleks forever, unless otherwise they're going to destroy Earth for some reason. So the Master's Lex Luthor fused with Brainiac, Howard. That's exactly what it is. Yes. Yeah. Like everything is karaoke, right? Everything is used ideas by other people. But again, all credit goes to Jamie Maglestone that kept this. There was so much that had to happen in the 90 minutes. You just didn't have time to notice. Nothing made sense, right? And it worked. Because it didn't have much Jodie, and it had a lot of Sophie, and it had a lot of the other doctors and member bearers. It worked, right? It's all about distracting you from what you're watching Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who, right? That's essentially what was the goal, and they did that. So now they go to a volcano in Bulgaria. And where they meet the Dalek, right? And the Dalek's like, I have the information to destroy the Dalek in my casing. So the Doctor puts this thing on the casing, and you think it's rusty, but it's not. It's just another Dalek, right? And it starts downloading it. But meanwhile, Yaz is looking around, and she sees there's a giant Dalek base there in the volcano. Again, all this is very Austin Powers. It really is. It's like Austin Powers does Doctor Who. Yeah, so there's a Dalek base. That really was a good idea. Austin Powers does Doctor Who. So that's where the Daleks are. Meanwhile, back in London in unit headquarters, the lone Cyberman leaves the bag, his little thing, and the Master looks up from his cell into the security camera, which Ace and Tegan are watching. And it says, the great thing about tissue compression, you can also uncompress it. And suddenly the Cyberman is Ashdad. It looks like engrossed to life size. And the best thing about this one, it's a Russian doll. So now they ripped off Doomsday, where it opens up and there's like lots and lots of Cybermen caught inside. So there's some kind of TARDIS transcendental thing going on inside the Cyberman as they all come out, and out comes the lone Cyberman, and there's a line in it, a throwaway line, said, I'm so glad I cloned you. You're just like the original, or something like that. It's so stupid. As the Cybermen arrive and they attack, Ace and Tegan rush, and there's a conveniently coupled huge, big plasma rifles, from Aliens, just hanging around and said, Gordon Bennett, you think we're not prepared? Now we got gold bullets. Right, Commander. And they don't look very good doing it, right? It's not their finest hour, right? And Ashdad's like, we developed a resistance to gold hundreds of years ago, right? The music was good, which I put down in my notes, because music is normally shit, but the music was actually good and carried the scene. So then we get the cyber attack on unit, which again, the action scenes are all, as long as the Doctor's not in them. Whenever Jodie turns up, it's shit, right? As long as Jodie isn't in it, the action scenes roll by very well. So then the Cybermen break in and they release the Master, and the Daleks catch the traitor Dalek. And said, it was always our plan to let you talk to the Doctor, so we can part of the plan. And then the next part of the plan is they fire at the renegade Dalek's casing. It opens up, and then they kill the Dalek inside. And then they order the Doctor inside the Dalek casing, right? And they're like, look, this worked when we did it with a weeping angel. But okay, so they trap her inside the Dalek and they beam her out to somewhere. So Yaz is left alone with the TARDIS, right? So Yaz walks into the TARDIS and says, I'm stunning. I'm brave. I can do this. I can do this. And of course she can. She tries to fly the TARDIS, and the TARDIS says, oh, you got to help me. I know what to do. I got a plan. Meanwhile, the Doctor is back in 1896 with the Daleks and the Cybermen, and the Master called it the Master's Dalek Plan. Well, again, good line. I've heard it before, but it's a good line. I think it was line ripped off from the Virgin New Adventures books as well. There's a lot ripped off from there, right? A lot ripped off from there. So the Master is going to do a false regeneration, right? And they're like, yeah, you can't do a false regeneration. You don't have the technology. Said, oh, no, when I could destroy Gallifrey in that way that we never explained and didn't make any sense whatsoever. I took all the technology. We can do it. Then a great scene, right? I know it is. It's a really bizarre scene. This is ripping off End of the World when they played Toxic. Instead, they played Boney M's Rasputin. And you got like... Sash Dewan doing this like Rasputin boogie to rah Rasputin, and I liked it, right? I thought it was good. And the Dalek Simon looking down going, well, this is weird. Meanwhile, Vinda calls the TARDIS, and he's trying to find the TARDIS. It just kind of wanders a little bit. So they put the Doctor into this booth. So now it's like David Tennant's regeneration and Master's in another booth. And they false regenerate the Doctor, right? And they false regenerate, and the Doctor now regenerates into the Master. The Master, what? So the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor regenerates into the Master. So he's stolen her, the Doctor's lives now, right? And then Yaz showed up. And he said, oh, I can still be fun. I'm the Doctor. You can be the Doctor of me, right? Come and be the Doctor of me. And if you don't, I'm going to kill you, right? So as the Cybermen are attacking, again, none of this makes sense. This is all so they can have like dramatic points. None of this makes any freaking sense whatsoever. Kate let's reduce us to Ace. And Tegan, oh, you better get out. I'll hold them back somehow, okay? And Ace is like, oh, I prepared for emergencies. And she pulls out a safe in the floor, and inside she has her Ace bomber jacket and a baseball bat, which also can fight Daleks, even though the baseball bat that can fight Daleks was destroyed. Doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't make sense. No, nothing makes sense. And nothing like, why is Vinda there? Who knows? Doesn't matter. So there's this regeneration energy. So in the TARDIS, the Master's wearing the Doctor's clothes. Awful out. Said, oh, I got to go change. But he has this regeneration energy keep flashing around him, right? He says, Earth is going to become a foundry for Cybermen and Daleks, and his plan is now to tarnish the Doctor's name, make sure everybody hates the Doctor forever, right? So the Master goes to change, taking on the Doctor's identity. Again, this is kind of like bad fan fiction from the 80s, given way too much money. But isn't it? I've read this fan fiction many times in the 80s. So at one point, Master arrives at these two warring planets. They're firing missiles at each other, and then he talks to the media and says, "Hi, I'm the Doctor. and I caused this war. Oh, you're gonna hate me now. But then Yaz pushes about the TARDIS, and the Master at this point has changed into a conglomeration of old Doctor's clothes. So he's wearing Sylvester McCoy's sweater, I think, and or there's the Tom Baker's scarf, and it's just a collection of all the Doctor's clothes that he's wearing, right? And then Yaz kicks him out the TARDIS as he's gloating and flies the TARDIS away because she can do it. She's the best as ever. The Master sits down and pulls out the second Doctor's recorder and starts playing on it. Meanwhile, in a surreal alternate reality dimension thing, the Doctor in a blue coat is walking across the wasteland. Now again, this is right out of the Virgin New Adventures, and he comes across David Bradley's first Doctor is dressed in like this Gallifreyan robes, right? And he said, "Oh, you're so." He gives a lot of positive reinforcement. "Oh, you're so stunning. You're so brave. You're the bestest ever," right? Then he turns into Colin Baker, and then he turns into Peter Davison. Then in Paul McGann, but Paul McGann's wearing his normal clothes. He's not wearing the Gallifreyan robes. Back into Dave Bradley, into Sylvester McCoy, also known as they said, they're the guardians of the edge. They are aspects of the Doctor's personality that guards with regeneration. And if you go over the edge, you've regenerated, right? Of this cliff, this like metaphorical cliff, you've regenerated. But Colin Baker says, "No, but you can't let the Master steal our bodies. You must go back and fight." Said, but we're going to need help from the outside. And then said, "That's why you're here, to show me that things always work out." And then as he looks around, and she's alone. Now she's been inspired by the Doctors 5, 6, 7. Was it 1, 5, 6, 7, and 8? Right. That's what so then outside in the TARDIS, right, in the real world, a death hologram of the Doctor shows up and said, "Oh, I'm not just a death hologram, I'm an interactive hologram. I know who I'm talking to, and I adapt accordingly. And whenever you if I touched you and the sparks came off you like they were earlier, that shows that's the interface to help interact with me." So this was another rumor that we had as well. So Yaz has a plan, right? Yaz has a plan because Yaz is stunning and brave. On the cyber planet, Yaz shows up to save Vinda. Again, completely fine with flying the TARDIS, right? Because she is stunning, she is brave, and she is the bestest ever, right? So now she's asked the hologram, "How can you reverse a false regeneration?" And you see other Doctors' faces blue. Suddenly goes into 4. All the Doctors they can get 4, 5, and I mean 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right? He says, "Well, there's one way. It's a 1 in a million chance. So it probably won't work." So they're going to do it. So meanwhile, Tegan, who is escaping with Ace, who took a bomber jacket and a parachute to get off this building. The Tegan turns back and said, "Oh no, Cobber, I gotta go and help Kate. You get out." So for some reason she goes back. I think she's just scared to parachute off the building. And then you gave a little bit about things that I spent the last 30 years living like a nomad. I've had 2 husbands, adopted son, all these things. I don't know. And she's like, just to tell you what type of person he is, I guess, right? So when he makes it back to Kate, a great plan to defeat the Cybermen attacking. You forgot Cybermen were attacking unit. To defeat the Cybermen, they're going to do this containment and structural termination. They want to blow up the building with the Cybermen in it. The Cybermen should survive that, especially the Cyber Masters, right? But no. So to do that, though, it's another MacGuffin. Tegan, they're on the top floor. Tegan next needs to get to the basement to turn on the blowing up system or something, right? Meanwhile, Cybermen have set up a cyber conversion chamber in unit, and it's way too graphic. All these real mournful screams as people are being turned into Cybermen. It's too graphic. Again, everything is judged badly, right? Ace now pointlessly needs to jump off. Everything is about getting to dun dun dun, mic drop moments. That's what you run from mic drop moment to like set piece to set piece to set piece to set piece, and nothing ever makes any bloody sense, right? It just nothing ever makes much sense. So they parachute off the building, and then the lone Cyberman Ashdad senses her, and then fires his wrist gun. And again, whenever Jodie isn't in it, it's really not bad at all, right? And shoots through her parachute thing, and she starts to fall. And as she falls, the TARDIS materializes underneath her. Like, so she's falling off a building. The TARDIS materials like that, boom, and she falls into it. There's Vinda and Yaz, and Yaz can fight the TARDIS. So next stop is they drop Ace off in the volcano to deal with the Daleks with a baseball bat, right? That's her plan. And says, for Vinda, we got an even more scary mission for you. So then Yaz returns to the Master, who she kicked out on this planet, and she just keep him there. Meanwhile, the hologram Doctor of 13 finds Tegan, right? And when she's interacting with Tegan, it turns into 5. And there is a fucking awesome scene, right? There's just an awesome scene where Tegan's like, you just left me alone. And Peter David's like, I never forget any of you. Right? You're all wonderful, but we all have to move forward, and we can't be constantly looking back. But it's he expresses his love for Tegan, right? And it's really it made me weep, right? It made my eyes water. It was genuinely beautiful, right? And it was on the strength of their performances, mainly Peter Davison's, right? It was really, really lovely. It says, and don't die, right? So then Tegan goes to a wall and pulls off a bit of plywood and finds a lift shaft. How does that happen? Who knows? Okay? None of this matters. Nothing freaking matters. We're just getting from mic drop to mic drop. That's all that's happening. So now she's climbing down a lift shaft because that was the next thing on the Rolodex of danger, I guess. So Ace has some Nitro 9, and that's awesome. I like seeing the Nitro 9 show up. And then she has a suit, and then the hologram of the Doctor turns up and turns into the 7th Doctor. And again, another awesome scene, right? Where basically Ace forgives the Doctor for being manipulative. And she says, yeah, I understand what you're doing there. I said, yeah, I was just trying to make you, give you options. Really good scenes, right? Really genuinely touching scenes. But again, the idea is remove all Jodie from it, right? Remove all Jodie. So she pulls out a baseball bat. She's going to take on the Dalek. She walks around the corner and it's Graham, right? How's he getting there? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Nothing matters, right? Nothing matters. Graham's got the psychic paper. How's he got the psychic paper? Doesn't matter. He also got the psychic paper. Said, I'm Graham, the volcano inspector. And they says, oh, you're a friend of the Doctor's. Okay, I know what you mean. So again, great little bit with great little scene with Graham and Ace, who are now basically the same age, right? And it's a little bit flirty. Ace is like, want to see how I dealt with them in 1963? He said, 1963, Gordon Bennett, how old are you, darling? He said, oh, it's like a gentleman never asked on a first date. So it implies something vaguely sexual, right? Vaguely romantic. And then Ace pulls out the baseball bat and says, I'm Ace, and then and goes off, and Graham walks off and says, yes, you are, darling. And then obviously he hopes he's in there, right? I hope he's in there too. I wouldn't mind that be the future for Graham, and I wouldn't mind seeing Graham again if he's with this Ace. That's fine by me. So Kate has a standoff with the Cybermen. As Tegan's go down the lift shaft, she's shot at by Cybermen, and we get a rabbits. Then the Master tells the Daleks. So again, all of this is low quality 1960s. Not even the Dalek strips. Like I was talking about the Janet and John, John and Gillian strips type Doctor Who. They're like unleash the volcanoes, and all the volcanoes around the world start to erupt for some reason. And then the Master's like, there have been much better commanders I can have, and let's get rid of you. It's time to execute you. And right then, the fugitive Doctor shows up, right? And he goes, I mean, like the street Doctor, and said, oh, Gordon Bennett, I'm the Doctor. And the Cybermen all surround her and shoot at her. but she's a hologram, and they all shoot each other. This is the 5th or 6th time Chibnall has people shooting each other, right? But I forgot to mention, the little black girl turned into a giant glowy blobby thing that was powering the planet, the cyber planet. I think I mentioned that. I can't remember. It comes in somewhat important later. So then she says, oh, Yaz, because she's stunning and brave and the bestest ever, had the idea of reprogramming the hologram doctor to look like the fugitive doctor to fool the master who wouldn't recognize him, even though he knew about the timeless children and he knows all about that stuff. But again, timeless children is forgotten. It's erased from reality, as it has been, right? So Vinder shows up, right? And he, now the Cybermen are being killed, and tells the master to get into the false regeneration machine. The Cybermen start to regenerate, and they suck up that regeneration energy, and they use it to false degenerate the doctor from the master back into Jodie, right? So now Jodie's wearing like a facsimile of all the different doctors. Again, this is stuff they should have released, but that should have been a Doctor Who magazine cover, right? Jodie Whittaker in the question mark sweater and things like that. That should have been a Doctor Who magazine cover 6 months ago, right? That would have generated excitement, but no, because Chis Kimmel's a moron. He really is a moron. So now the Doctor's back again, and then the AI vanishes. Last we ever see of Dr. Ruth. No, are we going to explain where she came from? Are we going to? No, we're never ever going to know, right? We're never going to, and no one's ever going to touch it again, right? Nobody cares. This era is over and over for good, right? So then we got this scene where Kate Lethbridge-Stewart is taken to cyber conversion again. It's pointlessly graphic and nasty, right? The hologram doctor tells Tegan what to do to stop the conversion, but a big cyber arm comes through the wall and grabs her. If only that the Doctor Who adventure thing in London was as good as this, right? Well, that's what it feels like. It feels like it doesn't feel like it's real Doctor Who. It feels like a haunted house version of it. It's really strange, right? It really is strange. It's like the Austin Powers. What Austin Powers is to James Bond, this is to Doctor Who, right? So there's lots of screaming, and then somehow Tegan stops all the Cybermen and sucks all their energy out somehow. Then the Doctor's back in her old costume, and they need help. All hands on deck. Graham and Ace attack the Daleks with Nitro 9. They blow up the volcano. Which did they stop them erupting? They don't mention it. I don't think they mention they stop it erupting. And all the Daleks blow up, right? Just at the same time, somehow Tegan and Kate Lethbridge run out the building as it's blowing up and crumbling. And then the Doctor shows up, right? Again, everything's kind of resolving. I don't know how. So then Tegan says, I'm going to go in the TARDIS, because she was mad she wasn't invited in the TARDIS. Then Kate is also invited in the TARDIS. And she's like, it's the first time in the TARDIS. And it's a rip-off of the Journey's End scene where they had all the characters standing around the TARDIS console, pulling Earth back to where it was supposed to be. Yeah, back to it where it was supposed to be. It's just not as good. As the Doctor doesn't give proper instructions. Just hold these down. And again, not much Doctor in this episode. What's the power of the Doctor? We don't know. Nobody mentions it. It's a meaningless title, right? Then while that's happening, they do that to get rid of the cyber planet somehow, I think. But while that's happening on, the Doctor fixes Vinder's ship and compliments herself how what a great engineer she is for doing it. Vinder flies off. And in the Master's TARDIS... Oh, yeah, so they use the Master's TARDIS to get rid of that planet. Lots of technobabble. Lots of running around. Lots of shouting. None of it really makes any sense. It doesn't really matter, right? So then they use the cyber planet to stop all the volcanoes erupting. And all the eruptions turn into metal, and like cold steel. And then the Master arrives in his TARDIS. So you got a Doctor Master confrontation. The Master's back in his old Rasputin body. And he's like, hey, you gambled and you lost. Now your body's falling apart. So the Master then, the little girl who was a giant ball of energy thing, the Master clicks a control on it and turns its zappy laser thing, which it was using to release itself onto, hits the Doctor, which just basically causes her to regenerate, right? Yaz runs out. Oh, Doctor Icky-Thorpe! And she runs like her, and she scoots her up like a little child and carries her back to the TARDIS. Oh, Doctor! Oh, Icky-Thorpe, she says. And again, runs like a girl as she's doing it. In the TARDIS, says, she'll be fine. Oh, she'll be fine. But, you know, all the commanders look around at her and they're all going, Doctor? Doctor is a very traditional regeneration thing. And she looks and says, oh, my extended fam. Blah! One more vomit put in. That's great. Meanwhile, the TARDIS speeds away as the Cyberman planet dissolves, I think. Later, the Doctor wakes up and Yaz has taken everybody home, right? And he said, how long have you been out for that? Oh, been out for a while. So we probably had 6 seasons of the Yaz adventures while she was sleeping. The cloister bell's ringing because she's regenerating, and she sees she's regenerating. Those frozen volcanoes will mess up the planet Earth surface. Yes, but they look cool in Star Trek Into Darkness, which is what he ripped it off from. So that's, you know, that's all that he was thinking of, right? What can I rip off from? She's regenerated. Oh, Icky-Thorpe, I don't want to go. Oh, what did David say? I don't want to go. No. We said, oh, time for one last trip. What flavor ice cream he has? So it ends up with the two of them sitting on top of the TARDIS in space, ripping off Peter Capaldi when he did that, eating ice cream. And you get the love, the heart-wrenching scene. Said, oh, I loved every minute of being with you, and I love being me. Oh, it's so stunning and brave, but I think I've got to do the next bit on my own. Well, we're going to watch it in a second. We'll watch a regeneration. So he leaves a tearful Yaz, sad music, and actually TARDIS fades away. In walks up walks Graham and Dan, right? And I said, well, what are you doing? He said, well, didn't you get your invitation? And so Graham, they're at this AA group, this encounter group. And he said, oh, I had all these incredible adventures and I can't tell anybody about it, but I thought there must be lots of other people there. And so it's all the commanders they get. So they're Joe Grant's there, Mel's there, Ian's there, Kate is there, Ace is there, Tegan's there. So the Doctor says, it's time to regenerate. Oh, and she has one last smug look into the camera as she leaves the TARDIS. One last sunset. She steps out onto what looks like Broadchurch, right? It looks like on Broadchurch, but he says, the only sad thing is I want to know what happens next. And then she starts to read it, and it's clearly a cliffhanger regeneration. I'm going, cliffhanger regeneration, yes. And then they green screen David Tennant on it, wearing with the clothes regenerating as well. And David does I know these teeth. I've been there before. And he goes, what? And the end. And it's over. Let's watch the regeneration together. And second video file. Is this the one? I think this is the one. Now, is there any way I can mat out the background, right, and put in a Capaldi TARDIS, right, so we can do Capaldi just straight into this guy? I don't know. But it's over. And here's the weird thing: no reference to any of the things that define the era, which is the weirdest thing. No reference at all to any of the things that define this era. Yeah, let's watch the teaser. I'm glad we got a teaser trailer, which means it's so over.
I don't know who I am anymore.
Someone tell me what the hell is going on here?
Oh, look, new logo, new text, it's all different. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Look, I've been saying the last couple of days, I don't know if the new Doctor Who is something that we will like, right? I don't know if something that fandom will like. I don't know if something that we will call Doctor Who. Yeah, regenerative clothes. It makes no sense, right? So again, I think we can say this era never happened. I am writing a book, right? I am writing a book called Ecky Thump, the guide to the awful era, the awful Jodie Whittaker era, the era that forgot about itself. Which it really did. I mean, the end of the day, that's what it did. It just totally forgot about itself. I wonder what Twitter's like. Let's have a quick look. See what Doctor Who Twitter's like today. Hang on. I'm intrigued to see what people are saying. Share screen. There you go. Twats. Can somebody tell me what the hell is going on here? Yeah, look, let's move forward straight. We are nowhere here. Forget about Jodie. Oh, okay. This is here. We can see the doctors that were in it. This again, very Virgin New Adventures. Very, especially having them in like the Gallifreyan robes. A bit of Ian. Oh, this was lovely. Right, the scene where the was it the holographic Doctor was talking to Ace. That really good. That for me really worked big time. Rejoice, they're gone. Fuckity bye. Right, and look, doesn't that look like the mock-ups that we've all seen? Best moment Paul McGann. Best moment when you built Paul McGann. Need serious to see more of him. Yeah, listen, I can't disagree, right? And I like he's wearing his Night of the Doctor. Yeah, one second of shooting, and it's I'm already excited, right? Yeah, look, he's wearing shooters. He's wearing David's shirt and tie, right? Leave me alone with Graham. Like, how did Graham get there? It makes no sense. Oh, he's been doing the rounds. The Dom. I like Dom is the best face of Jodie fandom, right? I think he's a good guy. I like Dom. Oh, look at that. We got how many doctors on screen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 doctors on screen at once. Look at that. I'll let you decide who aren't which ones are not like the other. Yeah, so look, they probably had a day's filming each. It was nice to see Sylv back and Connor. All that stuff I think kind of worked, right? I think it worked. Thank God it's over. Thank God it's over. Oh yeah, there we go. Bit of Mel action. I don't see any of this prohibited. Oh, yeah, look at this. This was for the Phasmin crowd, right? This is totally for the Phasmin crowd. Yeah, fuck off. I mean, really? Fuck off. I mean, look how she's like nuzzled up to her. Oh, stop. Either have them scissor in the TARDIS or not. That's your bloody choice. Shooty, I like the tash, mate. I'm glad you got the tash. I like that we see you look. At least your facial look. Yeah, look, this was really good, that scene. But you'll get all the good clips off YouTube. Okay. Anything else we can see? I think that covers everything, right? I think yeah. It's over. The awful era of Jodie is over. You can forget about it because not only is Russell Davies forgetting about it, but also Christian will forget about it. They've all forgot about it. I think they told him just to forget everything about the Timeless Child. I mean, that's honestly what I think they told him. Just like forget it all. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's nonsense. Just forget it. It's worthless. That'll be my take on it. But in terms of an episode, the most watchable episode they've done. Right, it's the most watchable episode they've done. Can I say anymore? But it wasn't very good. It's still like it's a facsimile of Doctor Who rather than what really is Doctor Who. I'm going to be excited to find out what David Tennant is doing back. Again, I do hope we can have something here. Let's just watch that again. Video file regeneration. We'll skip the Jodie bit because. Yeah, that is totally where it was going to end, right? Yeah, dun, 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 dun. You're right. That is where it was going to end. New footage, and I think those boobs are too big. Frankly, I don't think that's Jodie. I think those boobs are way too big. Yeah, okay, so fine. We just got it. Someone's got. If you just paint, you might have to do it frame by frame, but paint out the background and put a Capaldi. Capaldi TARDIS in the background. Yeah, but it's over. I don't think we can stress that enough how much it's over. And I was looking at Twitter. And there's anything else going on. But yeah, look, it's done. It's over. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything else worth looking at. Anyway, so tomorrow I will be doing my much more in-depth one. I'll give you a ton of screen grabs. I'll show you what do we have coming up. What do I have coming up? I don't know. I got a bunch of stuff coming up. But tomorrow we'll have the in-depth review. We'll have the ratings. I reckon the ratings will do okay, right? I think they're gonna. I think they. It depends how good the Larkins is. I reckon this will probably break 3, right? Will it get 4? I don't know. Depends how much they pushed it. I don't think the BBC should have been as embarrassed of it as they were, frankly, which is a bit weird. I think it was far more successful than the BBC thought it was. Fine. So for me, it's 20 to 1 in the morning. I think it's time for me to go to bed. It's time for me to go to bed. And Jodie is gone to bed. Bye-bye, Jodie. Fuckity bye-bye. Never, ever, ever come back. And please, future Doctor Who, never, ever, ever mention this bullshit ever, ever again. Thank you very much. I'm hitting the end broadcast button. I'm hitting again.